On this day in March, a man named Peter Brennan from Texas had just arrived at a Hilton hotel in downtown Nashville, Tennessee for a business trip when he got to his room and was having trouble with his television. This is a Hilton hotel, okay? This is downtown Nashville, a nice hotel, and the darn TV's not working. So he picks up the phone, he calls down to the office, and they say, we're going to get somebody down there. A manager ends up coming to his room, which... Hello, all right, we're at the top of the chain already. Here's the manager in the room trying to help him fix the TV. The manager was 52-year-old David Patrick Neal. Now, Pete, the customer who was staying in the room, actually served in the Air Force where he was a lieutenant and was also a former intelligence officer. So on this evening, which was March 29th of 2023, Pete gets ready to go to bed. Okay, he's got business to do the next day. He's got his little TV working in there. He's got the AC turned down because it's a hotel room, gets nice and cool in there. He pulls the blanket back, the sheets back in the bed. He slides his legs in there, pulls the covers up over him, and he goes to sleep. Normal thing, right? Well, Pete is woken up at 5 a.m. because something had happened. Allegedly, Pete felt something cold and wet on his toes. And when he woke up and looked down, he saw this 52-year-old manager, David, with his toes in his mouth, y'all, sucking his toes. Pete screamed. Can you guys imagine? This is a grown man, right? He just, like, what are you doing with my toes in your mouth? How did you get in here? What are you doing? Like, who are you? Like, can you imagine just like woken up out of a dead sleep with this? It is alleged that the manager, David, just started like mumbling stuff. He was just like, the TV, nothing he was saying was comprehensible, but he was just like shocked, I guess, that the guy woke up because he was sucking his toes while he was sleeping. Pete said that he kept asking him, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What were you doing? And he wasn't getting any real answers out of the Hilton manager. That's when Pete said that he decided that he was going to go down to the hotel security and report the incident. I mean, you can't report it to the manager. The manager is the one in your room at 5 o'clock in the morning sucking on your toes while you're sleeping. This is when Pete alleges that when he told the security of the Hilton hotel what had happened, that they didn't take him seriously. Now, after the police heard what Pete said happened, this is when they went to the manager, Dave, to ask him, listen, you got a guest here. This is what he's saying happened. What happened? The manager, David, then allegedly told the police that, yes, I did go into his room, but it was because I smelled smoke. The cop said, how did you get into his room? He said he had some sort of like skeleton key to get in. I mean, come on, you guys. Y'all been to hotels, right? They just take that plastic key. They push it against that thing. It gives them the code. Beep. You can get in. He had a key to get into the room, but allegedly he went in there because he smelled smoke. I wonder if the officer said, okay, you smelled smoke, but how did you get his toes in your mouth? Like, did you think there was fire under the covers and you was checking and you slipped? Like, what happened here, Mr. David? As the police continued to investigate, and I just can't imagine, I cannot imagine, they're probably thinking, well, what do we do here? I mean, this is a form of assault for sure. So they're probably like, what do we do? Do we need to go and get witnesses? Like, hey, knocking on doors, like, hey, I hate to bother you, ma'am, but has anybody in here been in the room sucking your toes? The cops wrote the report. And I guess they ended up just leaving and not really doing anything. And this is when Pete, who was the guest in the room, said that he felt so disturbed and unsafe that he went ahead and flew back home. He didn't even finish his business trip, which I can imagine, right? Like, you go to a hotel room, you lock the door behind you, you go to sleep, and you feel like that's going to be it. But the manager, David, was eventually arrested, not until May 5th of this year, when all of this stuff came out and like the situation and the case kind of started going a little viral on social media. But they did end up coming back and arresting him. They charged him with 1 count each of aggravated burglary and assault, and he was given a $27,000 bond. Don't get me wrong, I feel for Pete. I really do. I truly do. And this will probably change him in a way. For sure. Like when he goes and does all this other traveling, I always lock that extra lock. You know what I'm talking about? That deadbolt lock type of thing. I bet you he will from now on. Since all of this, Pete has filed a lawsuit against Hilton, and I don't blame him. I would have done the same exact thing. And in his lawsuit, Pete's lawyer reportedly pointed out that David, this manager, actually has a criminal background, including spending 5 years in prison for manslaughter.